Hello everyone, back to today's video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. In today's video, this takes us into the second half of July. In fact, we'll be going to the 23rd of July with this update. So we've got hot weather coming up next week. The early and middle part of next week, we'll see a big push up in temperatures. However, it's not going to be sustained, or it doesn't look like it's going to be sustained, because middle of next week, it appears we break it down again into thunderstorms. So it's a pattern of the summer, really. A push of heat from the south becomes unstable. We get a thundery breakdown, although we haven't had a huge amount of thunder across many parts of the country so far. Not had a classic thundery breakdown yet. Perhaps this will be it. I digress with that. But it looks like we get this thundery breakdown for the middle part of next week, and then it probably cools down in the second half of next week before perhaps building the Azores high again as we move towards day 10. I'll show you what's happening right now. So we'll start off with the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. A little bit cooler than average at the moment. It is slightly cooler and fresher at the minute, but over the weekend the temperature is going to be lifting up. That's our first push up in temperature. It's going to be very warm down in the south this weekend. A little bit cooler to start next week, and then we get that second push up, which is a bigger one through the early to the middle part of next week. So from Monday to Tuesday, essentially the temperature starts to really push up. Could well be peaking close to 32 degrees in the southeast again, sometime around Tuesday, Wednesday. That's 90 Fahrenheit. Excuse me. After that, we find the temperatures cooling off again. So that's after we get that thundery breakdown, before perhaps for the final week of July, this period just here, we begin to see evidence that we might begin to lift those temperatures up again. So up and down with the temperatures. Remember, the overall trend for this summer, though, at the moment, is very warm. We are having a very warm summer down in the south, not so much up in the north. A couple of days ago, there was the idea that we might build in a big ridge and set it up for several days. And if we'd done that, and we're going to do that, that would bring summer up to the north, and sustain summer up to the north as well. Don't think we're going to pull that off at the moment. As I say, it looks like it's going to turn unstable through the middle part of next week. For precipitation, well, it looks like we've got lots of dry weather. This is so on for London. Lots of dry weather to come through the remainder of the week, into weekend, and even into start of next week. These precipitation spikes just here, they're not all that dramatic, you have to say, but there are some precipitation spikes there. That is associated with the thundery breakdown through the middle part of next week. After that, again, not a huge amount of evidence that we're going to have a particularly wet spell of weather by any means. So up to the southeast anyway, even that thundery breakdown is not looking at this stage overly dramatic. And again, that's been something that we've seen throughout this summer so far, with rather, for a very warm summer, or what has been a very warm summer so far in the south, the thundery breakdowns have been really quite disappointing. Temperature anomalies are looking like this, more or less on the warmer than average side now. I'll expect these to trend increasingly warm over the next couple of days. So the anomaly from the 13th to 21st of July is a little bit warmer than average in most parts of the country. Not a big deviation, only around 1 to 2 degrees above average. As I say, you'll probably find those extending warmer over the next few days, trending warmer. Precipitation anomalies look drier than average for the south, and near normal to a little bit wetter than average for the north. So I think we can probably see where that thundery breakdown is going. It is looking like it's more to the northern part of the country, less so down in the south. Very early days on that, though. The detail on the thundery breakdown will be chopping and changing. For the throw this one in, what's happening in America? So temperature anomalies through the west of the states are generally coming out significantly hotter than average, while the east of the states, particularly around the Great Lakes, and the Midwest, the east of the states are coming out a little bit cooler than average. On the eastern seaboard itself, a little bit warmer than average there. Again, the general idea for this summer is that eastern parts of America are having a relatively cool summer so far, and the heat has tended to be more out towards the west and the northwest. precipitation anomalies in America are a bit of a mixed bag. So in the Pacific Northwest, very dry. We come down into these western states, and it looks very wet, quite unusually. Over towards the Midwest and the east of the states, overall, well, it varies from state to state, but overall probably a little bit on the drier than average side. Those precipitation anomalies out there in the west, but away from the Pacific coast, they look quite unusual. That's normally a fairly dry place, I think, at this time of the year, so not quite sure what's going on there to be producing all of that wet weather in those areas. We do have people watching from America, so maybe someone will inform me as to what's happening. Coming back to the British weather then, and this is the GFS for Sunday. We've got the Azores high building in from the southwest. That's going to be giving us a warm weekend down in the south, perhaps very warm. Temperature could be up to into the upper 20s Celsius in the south by Sunday. If we get sunshine, probably going to be quite a bit of cloud coming in with this ridge. But if the sun comes out for a long period of time in the south, it does potentially turn very warm on Sunday. A little bit more unsettled and cooler further north. Then we go through to Monday, and the high pressure is building strongly across the country. Then lots of dry and warm weather. The high pressure by Tuesday is still in control, but it's starting to drift a little bit more towards the east, beginning to pull up these hotter southerly southeasterly winds. But notice low pressure is down around the Bay of Biscay. It's also out to the west of Ireland, so we've got a two-pronged attack here from low pressure to the west and to the south as well, as we draw up those hot southerly winds. By Wednesday, those areas of low pressure have amalgamated into one area of low pressure, and that is pushing northwards and eastwards as it does so. There's the upper air temperatures for Wednesday, and it's looking hot. So we've got 10 Celsius isotherm through the country. The 15 Celsius isotherm is up in towards northern England, and further south of that, the upper air temperatures are even hotter. So that looks really warm there as we're going through into the middle part of the week. Another little mini heat wave, but with the price to pay in the form of thunderstorms. There could be thunderstorms breaking out across the country during the course of Wednesday. That's the Cape and lifted, indicating there is thundery potential. All of the detail on that is, of course, to be determined. We'll probably be updating Stormwatch in the days ahead, so just watch this space, see how that develops over the coming few days. So we go through the middle part of next week, and there's that thundery low breaking through across the country, and then the GFS turns out into quite a major feature. So that's bringing quite a bit of wet weather, thundery rain or thunderstorms into many parts of the country through the course of next week. We finally push that trough eastwards by Friday, bringing a cooler, fresher air mass into the weekend of the 22nd, 23rd of July, so going up to day 10, we find the ridge strengthening again to the south. So off we go again with the next ridge building in by Sunday, 23rd of July. We're back to high pressure, and no doubt the temperatures will be starting to lift up once again. Rinse, repeat in terms of the pattern through the course of this summer so far. It looks like it's continuing through the days ahead. Then finally we go through to the ECMWF, which is looking like this. So that's how Monday is shaping up, with the ECM. High pressure is building in strongly across the country. That ridge is there a little bit to our east. By the time you get through to Tuesday, that's beginning to shift the wind direction around into a southerly southeasterly flow, beginning to drag up that hotter air from the south once again. Wednesday, there's the thundery low pressures beginning to develop to our south and to our west. So we've got thundery low coming out of Biscay just there. We've got another area of low pressure to the west of Ireland. They're amalgamating into one area of low pressure that's pushing northwards and eastwards into that hot and humid air. So by the time you go through to Thursday, so midnight Thursday, thundery breakdown has taken place. Of course, where the thunderstorms are, which is very much to be determined, but just at the moment, let's say there is a thundery breakdown going on sometime Wednesday to Thursday. Clearing away, or starting to clear away the heat and humidity into the continent, and the winds are going into west-northwest, becoming cooler and fresher. By Friday, starting to reach the Azores high back in towards the south. So this low pressure, that's the thundery low, drifts away to the north. We get to day 10, and look at that, we're back where we started. The Azores High is ridging in once again, bringing a very settled spell of weather, I would have thought, over the weekend of 22nd, 23rd of July, becoming very warm again, probably. With that, let's just have a quick look at the upper air temperature to see what they're doing. So, yeah, we're putting up very warm air once again in that ridge from the Azores High, and it'll be a case of off we go again with another ridge building up from the southwest. So, the excellent summer continues down in the south. It remains a little bit more changeable up in the north. No sign of locking in an area of high pressure for a week or so. Yeah, and if we did that, then we would bring these summery conditions to the north. So at the moment, it continues to be a little bit more changeable for Scotland, but the really good in terms of dry and warm weather continues really for the south. So that's how it's looking. We're going to get another push of heat early next week, then another thundery breakdown from the middle part of next week. Will this one finally produce some decent thunderstorms? Let's wait and see on that. Then after that, a little bit cooler and fresher in the second half of next week before we return back to the Azores High by the time we get through to day 10. Right, tomorrow it's JMA Friday. That's going to extend out through the month, and it'll take us well into August. So come back for that. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.